No. Oh boy, been putting this one off literally all day. Admittedly, it's 11:43 p.m., but I just felt that the whole world needed to hear the. Okay, the way this intro was supposed to go was, I was gonna start by saying, this is how we start, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Then I was gonna go into this whole like preacher bit, talking about how to revitalize the Airbnbs in this community. But Caleb wasn't able to pull off that edit.
False.
And thus, I just summarized what the intro was going to be. That's different. This is an intro talking about what this intro was supposed to was supposed to be. That is meta. By the way, this video brought to you by the Zuck. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, this video is brought to you by Cokeeper. But a little bit more on them later. All right, so this is gonna be my first 10-minute video on the Robuilt channel in a very long time.
Nope.
So I actually asked a few Airbnb YouTubers / superstars for their hottest Airbnb tips. So you're gonna wanna stick around until the very end for that, because everybody should be doing these. So number one thing that you can do to level up your Airbnb, gonna be a bit of a hot take, and yes, the pun is very intended, adding a hot tub or some kind of water feature to your Airbnb. Now, if you follow along on the channel, or you're a host camp student, or you ever talk to me about things that I absolutely hate in all Airbnbs, the thing that are like just the absolute worst thing that you could ever put in an Airbnb, it is a hot tub. I don't like hot tubs for so many freaking reasons. They break all the time. They're always dirty. People always mess them up. They'll put beer bottles in there and they're always, they're refund central, okay? So just so you know, like that is my actual POV on hot tubs. However, research does seem to suggest that it does improve your ADR, your average daily rate, and it increases overall revenues for you to have a hot tub. I don't like this, but it just is what it is, right? And so when you're in places like Gatlinburg or Joshua Tree, places that I have Airbnbs and investments in, it's really hard to stand out when everyone has a hot tub, and if you don't have one, then you're just sort of gonna get passed over by all the people that maybe they don't even have a hot tub. They might have like a cowboy pool, like a dip pool. They might have an above ground pool. They might have a pool. It doesn't have to be a hot tub specifically, but those do seem to be the more popular requests from a lot of guests that I talk to. So I just decided to look this up out of due diligence. It's something I should have done before filming this video, but hey, here we are. Okay, so studies have shown that adding a hot tub to an Airbnb listing can increase the occupancy rate by up to 13%, which I think can be relatively significant. Furthermore, according to airbnbmagazine.com, a recent study by hotels.com, interesting, found that more than half of Airbnb guests would prefer to stay in a home with amenities such as a fireplace, hot tub, or pool. And according to a study by Airbnb, a hot tub can add an average of $39 per night to your listing price. So just to kind of extrapolate that a little bit, so let's just say that you're booked 70% of the year. Well, let's do 80% of the year because I know that number. It's 292 nights a year. Humor me here. I know that some people have less occupancy than that, but 292 nights a year times $39 in increased revenue comes out to $11,388 of additional revenue every single year. Over a 5-year period, that would total out to $56,940 of extra revenue that you can make with the hot tub, which is pretty nuts. Which is actually my nickname for Caleb, but that's neither here nor there.
It takes an advanced sense of humor. I don't expect everybody to understand.
But you get my point here. I mean, the revenue that you can actually get from a hot tub or some kind of water feature is not something that I really want to ignore too much longer. Like I said, the amount of systems and processes and the maintenance involved with hot tubs, I don't necessarily always recommend it, but since I am a more experienced host, I am more willing to just take the plunge and just develop the systems to make sure that I have a very smooth hot tub operation. And for reference, just so you know, I just spent about $12,000 to $13,000 to really amp up the amenities at Casa Conejo, and among those amenities was a hot tub and a really awesome outdoor space, which is actually gonna bring us to tip number 2, which is outdoor spaces, and really splurging on the idea of just creating a recreational experience outside of the actual house itself. Now, one of the things that I often say on the channel, and it's really not only my philosophy, it's everyone's philosophy, but the more beds and heads you have in your Airbnb, the more money you can charge and the more money that you're gonna make overall. Now, we're not just stuffing 50 people in a house just to stuff 50 people in a house. I'm talking about comfortable beds and heads. Now, let's just say that maybe you do have a smaller home, it's a little bit of a cozier fit it for, let's say, 6 people or so, that group of people are gonna be a lot more forgiving if they can hang out in places that aren't a very crammed house. So if you invest in a pergola, if you invest in a really nice backyard and a really nice deck with cornhole or horseshoes, or any space that gives people the opportunity to escape a small stuffy house, that's gonna be looked at really positively. And like I said, I think guests would forgive that. They wouldn't even necessarily mention that the house is super, super small because they would be too busy fawning over how awesome the outdoor space was. And when I say mention it, let me clarify, I mean in the review. So part of that $12,000 to $13,000 that I spent at Conejo wasn't just the hot tub, it was an entire pergola. I had a very specific vision for it, and I commissioned Josh David of the David Building Co. out in Joshua Tree to build it. He absolutely killed it. If you're interested in investing a little bit more in your outdoor living quarters, or you really want to bulk up that experience, then hit up David Building Co. on Instagram, and I'm also going to be leaving Josh's email down in the description below. So to kind of put into perspective what I invested here and why I did it, total this project was $12,000 to $13,000. I think the pergola itself was maybe around $7,000 or $8,000, and then the actual hot tub itself was about $3,500 to $4,000. Then I had to also convert it from a 110 to a 220 volt. I think that's going to be another $1,200 to $1,500. So total, I'll end up being in that $12,000 to $13,000 mark. It's a tiny house, and it's a tiny house that can fit up to 4 people. And yeah, it's very spacious and it's very ergonomic, and most people think it's a lot bigger than the 300 square feet that it actually is, but it's still a tiny house, and I really wanted people to be able to just go outside and relax and take a break from each other. So honestly, I don't think that you can invest too much in an outdoor space. As a matter of fact, there's another really big project like this that I'm working on out in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. On my 50-acre property, I've got an Airbnb out there, and out there it's the land of cabins. My house is a little bit more of a cottage, and it just doesn't sell quite as much as a cabin because it's the Smoky Mountains. So I was trying to think about how I can make it a really, really bookable place, and I'm currently working on this giant cliffside deck that's gonna be cantilevered over the cliff, and it's gonna be like a giant pergola in a giant space, and you're gonna be able to see the view of the Smoky Mountains, and it's gonna be super, super awesome. And on top of that, I'm gonna be putting a hot tub there as well. This whole project, we're still bidding it out, but I'm guessing it's gonna be between $20,000 to $30,000, which is pretty expensive, and it's not necessarily something that I'm gonna make back in the first year, but I know that it's gonna increase bookings, and I know that I'll make that $30,000 back, certainly over the course of the next 2, 3, 4 years. So yeah, you don't have to spend $30,000 on a deck. Like I said, I think there are a lot of simple, really cost-effective things you can do here, like a rope ball. What's that called, Caleb, where you like throw the ropes?
It's not called rope ball.
Horseshoes, bags, all that stuff. I think you can really be creative here. The sky's the limit. But if you're willing to invest a little bit more, I think a pergola or a gazebo or some kind of covered area is gonna really, really pay off. Okay, tip number 3 for how you can level up your Airbnb. This one's actually very simple, but I think it's one that I'm learning the hard way more and more, and it's updating my cleaning regimes. And what I mean by this is typically I'll go out and hire a cleaner, and they'll go out and they'll clean, and then every so often I might get like a bad review. I'll let that cleaner know. They'll try to fix it for the next time, and then you kind of just repeat this whole process over and over and over again. And one of the things that in the Airbnb redesign that I talked about in my video a couple weeks ago, which if you haven't seen that, go check that out after this. I really break down the entire philosophy of why they redesigned the Airbnb website the way they did. But part of that initial redesign was they took away all the titles, and all you really see is that one photo, the name of the city, and your rating. And that rating is gonna be way more important than it used to be. I mean, it's always been a very important thing, don't get me wrong, but now it's one of the very few things that Airbnb is showing off, so it's gonna matter more. And the thing that impacts your rating more than anything else is how good the cleaning of your place is. Cleaners are the lifeblood of your Airbnb business, and I'll be totally honest, there are some markets that I'm in where I just cannot find cleaners. I'm currently a captive audience for some of the, subpar cleaners that I have and some of the current properties that I own and manage. And so what I'm learning here is I don't really have a choice. I can't fix this bad cleaner. I can't make them a better cleaner, but I can at least try to give them the tools, systems, and processes to keep them accountable and hopefully help them improve over time. Which brings me to today's sponsor, Cokeeper. So Cokeeper is an app and service that makes it super easy and convenient to make sure that the cleaning of your properties is being done every single time. Cokeeper connects you and your cleaner through the app, and it also provides you with much needed visual reports so that you can have control over every small detail of your property. You'll receive 100% customizable task list templates, which helps you to provide very helpful information to your cleaners. You'll also receive detailed cleaning reports, which allow you to visually inspect your property to make sure that everything is good to go before your next check-in. And all supplies can really be monitored through the Supplies Inventory Manager, which just comes in clutch, because you can check on your supply list, you can easily export it so you can make your shopping easier, and probably the best part about all this is that you can sync your Airbnb calendars.
We're thinking.
What are you
thinking about.
And schedule your cleaners that way and just automate that whole thing, because you don't want to be texting all of your cleaners between every single check-in and letting them know when the next guest is coming in, and then you're like, well, are you here? Are you here? Well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Automate that, dude. You have to automate the cleaning component of this, or else you're gonna get in the weeds of running your business. Oh, and lastly, there's two apps. There's a cokeeper app for hosts and a cokeeper app for cleaners, so it just makes it very streamlined for both parties. That app is currently available only on iOS, but I'm told that it's coming to Android soon. So if you're interested in stepping up the automation of your business, then download cokeeper today. Okay, now back to the video. All right, and my fourth and final tip here before we bring in the Peanuts Gallery to give their POV on how to level up Airbnbs is upgrading the master bedroom bedding. This is huge. One of the things that I always say is to spend money on your statement pieces. So typically what I mean by this is finding the best room in the house, the room that's gonna photograph the most, and spending money on some of those really big ticket items. Typically this is gonna be the living room, so this is gonna be like your couches, credenzas, media consoles, ottomans, coffee tables, like spend money on that stuff. That's always been my point of view, but I wanna amend that a little bit and say that you should really be spending a decent amount of your budget in the master bedroom, but specifically in the bedding. So if you're gonna get memory foam mattresses, put those in every single room, but you should be getting a much nicer memory foam mattress for the master bedroom. Now for all of your linens, that pretty much has to stay the same just to make it a lot easier on your cleaners, but you should be splurging on nicer pillows, for example, nicer throw pillows, and overall just much squishier hotel grade pillows for the master bedroom. And there's actually a very specific reason why I say this, and it's because the people that are staying in the master bedroom are typically the people that book the reservation. In other words, they're the ones that are going to be leaving you a review. If someone plans the trip, they take the initiative, they contact 15 people, they get everybody's monies, like they're entitled to stay in the master bedroom, and thus you want to make sure that they have absolutely the best stay possible. And you want to splurge there because you want them to lay in bed and think, oh my God, this is the nicest bed that I've ever laid in. Look at this.
See? He fits perfectly.
If you do that and they sleep in that bed for 3, 4, 5 nights, they're gonna be happy campers and they're gonna leave you a nice 5-star review. And speaking of happy campers, I guess since we're here, everything that I've talked about today are my personal philosophies on hosting and tips and tricks that I've acquired over 4 or 5 years of failing and making mistakes and becoming a better host. And this is stuff that I really dive deep into in Host Camp, my 12-month Airbnb mentorship program. So if you're interested in starting your own Airbnb business, but you don't know where to start, or if you're wanting to scale, or if you're wanting to quit your 9-to-5 job, to become a full-time host, these are all concepts that we cover in my very robust curriculum and my monthly coaching calls. So if you're interested in learning more about Host Camp, feel free to book a free call with my team over at hostcamp.com, or you can click the link in my description down below. And with that, let's call in a few of my friends and get them in the mix. If you were gonna level up your Airbnb with one simple or even not so simple addition or upgrade, what would you do?
Dude, I'm actually working on it right now. I call it a feature wall, like a main wall that totally pops out. So I've got 3 going in right now, or actually 4 technically. So I break it down to 4 things. One is you do something like wallpaper. There's some amazing wallpaper. I know it's like a 1980s thing, but wallpaper really stands out and does really well. 2 is I'm using concrete, so concrete panels. 3 are wood slats. You can do a bunch of different designs. Some people even do really cool batten strips. And then 4 is customized tiles. And so with these 4 things, you build a feature wall that automatically grabs your attention, relatively inexpensive, you know, high dollars, like maybe $1,000 to $2,000, maybe a little more depending on the size of the wall. But I mean, it's a wow factor.
So it's effectively like a really elevated accent wall, right? So instead of just doing, I mean, it could even be a very simple accent wall, but you're actually experimenting with different textures, shapes, sizes, and colors and everything, right?
Exactly. You hit on the head. It's texture. And so we're so used to just flat walls. And so when you add that texture where it's concrete, it's slats, it's tile, and even texture tile, it makes a world of difference. Even wallpaper today, they have texture to it too.
I'm actually a really big fan of the board and batten bottom with wallpaper at the top. So
Yeah, you did that in your California home.
Yeah. So I haven't done it in my Airbnb yet, but maybe I'll steal some of your ideas, sir. Thank you.
Sorry. I copyrighted it. I don't know if that's how it works, but...
Unsubscribe.
Okay, so you've been doing this a while, and how many Airbnbs are you up to right now?
7 live and 1 more coming soon.
Okay, cool. So you've got some experience here. What's one way that you can level up any Airbnb?
My number 1 for anybody can do is furniture. Level up on the quality of your furniture and design. Partner up with, designers now at this point, and I go and I buy furniture, especially in the kitchen. Go to Williams Sonoma. I don't go to Amazon, and I buy all really nice kitchen.
Man, that is a really good tip. I always talk about on the channel buying nice furniture, and I didn't want to say it again because I feel like I always say it all the time, but I feel like the nugget that you just gave us is to hire an interior designer, like a decorator that can actually skilled and dedicated at the craft of furniture curation.
Yeah, I just did that. I mean, I have an eye, but working with a professional takes it to the whole other level. And the competition is just that much thicker. And as you know, photos are everything. So if you can level up on the design, that's one thing everybody could do.
I think one really easy way that you can one up your Airbnb is by doing
Murals.
That's super cute. Everybody loves them. Perfect place to take Instagram pictures, duh, right?
We we have so many guests coming through our Airbnbs, and one of the comments we get all the time is how much they love the Instagrammable murals at pretty much all of our places in Joshua Tree. So if you're looking for a way to make your place more marketable, murals are the way.
What does something like that run?
Yeah, so I'm usually the one that books the mural list, and on average, we've been able to get ours that are walls from like 9 to 12 feet long for about $1,000.
Okay, that's the video. I don't think I hit the 10-minute mark. According to my stopwatch, I've been talking for 25 minutes, which is honestly still pretty short, and I think it'll cut together to be a 15-minute video, so whatever. I did my best, and honestly, I can already tell this is gonna be a good video. So with that, what was your favorite tip of the day? Did I miss any? Let me know in the comments down below, or if you have a really, really great tip or suggestion for how to level up an Airbnb, let me know in the comment down below, and I'll make a part 2 of this if enough of y'all want it. But with that, thanks again to Cokeeper for sponsoring today's video. And don't forget, if you want to sign up for Host Camp, my 12-month mentorship program, then you can book a free call with my team over at hostcamp.com. Okay, see you guys on the next episode of Robuilt.